Khuddhaka Nikàya. Vimanavatthu. The third division. PARICCHATTAKA-VAGGO. Vimanavatthu. Splendid mansion. The Bhagava was dwelling at Rajagaha, in Bamboo Grove. At that time in Rajagaha, in a household that ministered to the venerable elder monk Maha-Moggallana, was young girl who was intent on giving alms and loved giving of donation. In that house the hard and soft food and so on was prepared before the meal. Then the girl would give away half her own portion unless she had given alms she did not eat. Even when she saw no one worthy to receive a gift she put aside till she saw such a one. She gave to beggars as well. Now her mother was joyful and happy as she said to herself, "My daughter is intent on giving of donation and loves to give," and she gave her a double portion. When the single portion she was given was shared, gave her another. She even proceeded to share from that. As time thus went by, her mother and father gave her, when of age, to the son of another family in the same city. But the family was of false views, unbelieving. Now the venerable elder monk Maha-Moggallana, while walking for alms from house to house, stopped at the dower of the house of the young girl's father-in-law. When she saw him, the young girl, with joyful mind, said, "Enter, reverend sir," ushered him in, greeted him with honor, and took a cake which had been set aside by her mother-in-law. Not being able to see her, she said to herself, "I will tell her about it and make her rejoice," and she gave it to the elder. The elder thanked her and went on his way. The gong girl told her mother-in-law, "I gave the cake you had put aside to the elder Maha-Moggallana." When she heard that, the mother-in-law cried, "What impertinence is this? You gave a monk something of mine without even asking." And spluttering with rage, overcome with anger, without thinking of right and wrong, she took up a broken piece of a pestle and struck the girl on the shoulder. The girl, because she had been delicately reared and her lifespan had come to an end, was overcome with severe pain and in only a few days died and was reborn among the 33. Although she had kamma of other good deeds, that particular almsgiving to the elder was the preeminent one. The venerable elder monk Maha-Moggallana went, as described above, and questioned her. "Splendid is you retinue, your beauty is shining over all the quarters. Women are dancing and singing, adored are the deva youths. They make you rejoice, devata, with honor they attend you. These are your golden mansions, you who are fair to look at. And you are mistress over them, richly endowed with every pleasure, of noble birth, mighty are you. In the assembly of devas you rejoice. Devata, when asked, tell of what deed this is the fruit." Questioned thus by the elder, the devata explained. "When I was born a human being among men I was a daughter-in-law in a family poor in practice of morality. Among unbelievers, among miserly folk, I, believing, was possessed of practice of morality. When you were walking for alms I gave you a pancake. I told my mother-in-law, did any monk come here, to whom I, with joyful mind, gave a cake with my own hands." Single quote. Thus spoke mother-in-law, reviling. "Daughter-in-law, you are lacking in upbringing. You did not want to ask me saying that you wished to give to a monk." Then my mother-in-law, angry, struck me with a pestle. It hit my shoulder and injured me. I could not live for long. And I, at the breaking up of the body, well freed, deceasing from there, arose in the companionship of the devas of the 33. Because of this is my beauty such, because of this do I prosper here and there arise whatever are those delights that are dear to my heart. Because of this is my brilliant majesty thus and my beauty illumines all the quarters. Vimanavatthu. Vimanavatthu. Sugarcane mansion. The Bhagava was dwelling at Rajagaha. And so forth, the same as in the previous. But the difference in this. She gave sugarcane, was struck with a stool, died that very instant and was reborn among the 33. That same night she came into the elder's presence and, like the moon and like the sun, making Vulture Peak radiant the while, she paid homage to him, and stood at one side in an attitude of devotion. Then the elder questioned her. Having made effulgent the earth with the devas, You shine forth like the moon and the sun with your splendor and beauty, glory, incandescence like Brahma outshining the devas of the 30 together with Indra. I ask you who wear blue lotus garlands, and garlands on the forehead, whose skin resembles gold, adorned one, wearing the finest of robes. Who are you, lovely Devata, who are honoring me? What was the deed you did of yourself of old when in a former birth you were born a human being? Giving donation to well-accomplished, or self-control, in practice of morality? By which are you, one of great renown, arisen in a good rebirth? Devata, when asked, explain of what deed this is the fruit. Thus questioned by the elder, the Devata explained. Just now, revered sir, in this very village, you approached our house for alms food. So I gave you little piece of sugarcane with a mind of happiness, with boundless bliss. And afterwards my sugarcane, daughter-in-law, I neither threw it out nor ate it. I gave it myself to a saintly monk. Single quote. Now is the authority here yours or mine? Thus spoke mother-in-law reviling me. Seizing a chair, she gave me a blow. Deceasing from there, my time done, I am a Devata. That is the righteous deed itself that I did, and a happy deed do I myself enjoy. Or amuse myself together with the devas. I find delight in the 5 kinds of sense pleasures. That is the righteous deed itself that I did, and a happy deed do I enjoy, guarded by the chief of devas, protected by the 30, furnished with the 5 kinds of sense pleasures. Such is the fruit of merit, not small. My gift of faith of the sugarcane is great in resultant. Or amuse myself together with the devas. I find delight in the 5 kinds of sense pleasures. Such is the fruit of merit, not small. My gift of faith of the sugarcane is great in glory. Guarded by the chief of devas, protected by 30, in Nandana grove like him of the 1,000 eyes. And you, revered sir, compassionate, wise, I approached and asked about your health. Then I gave you the little piece of sugarcane with happiness in mind and with boundless bliss. Vimanavatthu. Vimanavatthu. Devan mansion. The Bhagava was dwelling at Savathi, in Jetavana. At that time in Savathi the daughter of a certain lay follower was given in marriage to the son of another family of similar lineage and circumstances in that same city. And she was good-tempered, perfect in the practice of morality, she held her husband in honor, had undertaken the 5 precepts, and duly on observance days. Uposatha, fortnightly fasting and confession. She kept the precepts. Afterwards she died and arose among the 33. The venerable elder monk Maha-moggallana went there as has been described above and questioned her. Upon a finest divan adorned with jewels and gold, flower bestrewn, a couch of splendor, there you stay, Devi of great majesty, by psychic potency assuming manifold forms. And these, your nymphs, on every side dance, sing, or enjoy themselves. You are attained to the psychic potency of devas. One of great majesty. What merit did you perform when you were born a human beings? Because of what is your brilliant majesty thus and your beauty illumines all the quarters. She explained to him in these verses. When I was born a human being among men I was a daughter-in-law in a wealthy family. I was without anger, obedient to my husband, diligent on the observance day. Uposatha, fortnightly fasting and confession. When I was born a human being, young and innocent, with a mind full of joy, I delighted my Lord. By day and by night I acted to please. Of old I was one of practice of morality. Refraining from killing of creatures, not thief, utterly pure in practicing celibacy. Not drinking liquor and not speaking lies, I was one who fulfilled the rules of training. On the 14th, 15th and 8th of the bright fortnight and on a special day of the fortnight well connected with the eightfold I observed the observance day. Uposatha, fortnightly fasting and confession. With a mind of bliss, was one who was faring according to Dharma with zeal in my heart. and undertaking this Aryan benevolence connected with the glorious eightfold, happy in result, charming and obedient to my Lord was I who formerly was a disciple of the welfarer. Because I performed such righteous deeds in the world of the living, I partake of distinction. At the breaking up of the body, attained in the next state to the psychic potency of devas, I came to a good rebirth. In a glorious delightful mansion palace, attended by a throng of nymphs, a throng of lustrous devas delight me who with a long lifespan have come to the deva mansion. Vimanavatthu. Vimanavatthu. Lata's mansion. The Bhagava was dwelling at Savathi, in Jetavana. At that time a daughter, Lata by name of a certain lay follower who lived in Savathi, a learned, accomplished and intelligent girl, went to the home of her husband. She was charming to him, to her mother and father-in-law. Pleasant in speech, kind and good to the servants, capable of taking charge of affairs in the household, good-tempered, perfect in the practice of morality, delighting in generosity. She was diligent in keeping the 5 precepts untorn and in the observances on observance days. Uposatha, fortnightly fasting and confession. After a time she died and was reborn as a daughter of the great king Vesavana. But her name was still Lata. There were 4 other sisters of hers besides. Saja, Pavara, Akimati and Suta. All 5 of them were brought by Saka, king of Devas, and placed in the position of attendants on him in the capacity of dancing women. But Lata was the favorite because of her skill in singing, dancing and so on. When they had assembled, a dispute arose regarding proficiency in music. They all went to the great king Vesavana and asked him, "Father, which among us is best in dancing and so forth?" He said thus, "Daughters, go display your music in an assembly of devas on the bank of Lake Anatata. There your speciality will be apparent." They did as he said. There the deva youths were not able to contain themselves while Lata was dancing. Full of laughter, filled with amazement, applauding without stopping and waving garments, they made an uproar that caused the Hemavant, as it were, to tremble. But when the others danced they sat silent like cuckoos in the cold season. Thus in the assembly there Lata's specialty was apparent. Then to the Deva maiden Suta this thought occurred. Now because of what deed has this Lata surpassed us in glory and splendor? Come, I will ask about the deed done by Lata. She asked her. The other explained the matter to her. The great king Vesavana told that same story in full to the venerable elder monk Maha-moggallana when he arrived on a Deva tour. Telling the matter to the Bhagava from the primary cause of the question, the elder said, Lata and Saja and Pavara, Akimati and Suta, Devatas, daughters of King Vesavana, glorious king most noble, resplendent with virtuous qualities shining. Here the 5 women came to the cool water, to the lotus-filled holy river to bathe. When these Devatas had bathed there, played there, danced and sung, Suta said to Lata, I ask you who wear blue lotus garlands. And garlands on the forehead, whose skin resembles gold, whose eyes are like dark copper, shining like the sky, of long lifespan, by what was made your repute? Why are you, my dear, your Lord's best loved in beauty indeed of utter loveliness, clever in dancing, singing, and instrumental music? Tell us, you who are questioned by men and women. Lata, questioned by Suta, said, When I was born a human being among men I was a daughter-in-law in a very opulent family. I was without anger, obedient to my husband, diligent on the observance days. Uposatha, fortnightly fasting and confession. When I was born a human being, young and innocent, with a mind full of joy, I delighted my lord, my brother-in-law, parents-in-law and servants. By this was made my repute. I myself by that righteous deeds have attained distinction in 4 respects. Lifespan and beauty and happiness and strength. Not a little play and delight do I experience. Have you heard what this Lata says? What we have asked she has explained it. Husbands are the preeminent destination to us women, they are the glorious devatas. Let us all in Dharma serve our husband wherever women are chaste wives. Having all in Dharma served our husband, we shall receive that of which Lata spoke. Single quote. Just so here a woman disciple of the noble ones, having faith, depending on her husband, chaste towards her Lord, having slain anger, overcome avarice, she who fares by Dharma, rejoices in heaven. Vimanavatthu. Vimanavatthu. GUTTILA'S mansion. While the Bhagava was dwelling in Rajagaha, the venerable elder monk Maha-Moggallana on a deva tour, as related above, went to the realm of the 33. There in 36 mansions in succession he saw 36 deva maidens, each enjoying great deva bliss with a retinue of 1,000 nymphs. And in succession he asked, with the verses beginning with surpassing beauty, about the deed formerly done by them. After his question they replied with the verses, of which the first one is, I was one who gave dress most fine. Then the elder came from there to the world of men and told the story to the Bhagava. When he had heard it, the Bhagava said, Moggallana, not only by you have the devas been questioned and have replied in this fashion, but indeed in a former time they were questioned by me, too, and they answered in like fashion, and entreated by the elder he told the life of Guttila, a story of his own past. The seven-stringed melodious, agreeable, I made to speak. One summons me to the dancing stage. Kosya, be my refuge. I am your refuge. I am one who honors teachers. The pupil will not defeat you, teacher, you will defeat the pupil.